Welcome back to the FloTrack podcast. A musicless open. We're going to fix that pretty soon. I'm Kevin. He's Gordon. Happy Friday. Got a lot to discuss today. NCAA conference championships. You have the USATF indoor championships as well. Joining me as he does every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He stars on this show, on the NCAA track and field show, and on Instagram now. People are making reels out of what you say on the pod, Gordon. How's that feel?
Well, if they're probably making it to make fun of me, so I'm not sure. I guess any press is good press, or is that the phrase? No press is bad press. Yeah. Apparently, the Jamaican community, Christopher Grant, great runner at Auburn, isn't too happy that I was making fun of Elaine Thompson. Hurrah! Um, and then someone tweeted at me that my criticism of her use of Twitter was not correct because she actually wasn't using Twitter. She was using Instagram, which I will have, but it's not true though. It's true and not true at the same time. So to recap the people who don't listen to the podcast every day, unless you're diehard listener, Elaine Thompson tweeted out hashtags incorrectly on Twitter. I made a joke about it. Christopher Grant, Auburn runner, says, "Don't mess with my girl from Jamaica." No problem there. I get it. Whatever. No problem. And then someone tweeted at me saying, like, you should know that it clearly was an Instagram and not a tweet, and you don't need spaces in Instagram. And first of all, like, I didn't know that. So thanks for the information, Mikkel Elliott. I appreciate it. But that doesn't excuse her. If she knows she's pushing her Instagrams to her tweets, you should at least think when you're posting on Instagram to put the spaces so when it goes to Twitter that they're also clickable. So this isn't a lifeline for her. She still is in the wrong. You need spaces on hashtags. That's all I got to say about that.
Listen. I don't like to play favorites on this show, but Christopher Grant is my new favorite sprinter in the 60. I love the content. Great job. Keep it coming. It was hilarious. When Gordon sent it, watched it 6 or 7 times. He's got a future. Got a future. And I loved it. I mean, I just love the shaking of the head. I like he's just sitting there drinking his drink, and the facial expressions are sometimes the facial expressions I want to make when Gordon's making a point, but he just does it so much better than I could ever do. And also, look at his hashtags there. Perfectly done.
Hashtag FloTrack, hashtag joke, hashtag World Athletics Champs. So hashtag LOL, hashtag Explore page.
He's on it.
I like that one.
He's covering all
he wants
the
to show up on the
bases.
Explore page. So use the hashtag.
That would mean that you'd be on the Explore page, Gordon. That would be a big star turn for you. You're going to end up on that one day when you dunk. Before we go any further, though, the show is sponsored by Hoka. Hoka just introduced the most advanced spike shoe. Yeah, that's right. The CLOX. We've been talking about them for a couple of weeks. They're powered by the propulsion of carbon. There are 2 varieties, CLOMD for mid-distance, CLOLD for long distance. Remember, the website is Hoka.com. Hoka faster forward. Gordon, show the people the spikes. Show everybody the spikes. Show those white, beautiful spikes to the camera. There you go.
One day podcasts are going to be in hologram form, and you'll be able to actually hold the spike. That's going to be the future.
Oh, wow.
It'll be in the metaverse. You'll be able to hold the sponsorship of the Hoka spike.
It's terrific. Remember, Hoka.com, Hoka faster forward. A little behind the scenes right now. So we can see the videos and the pictures that are going to come up before they come up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And in between those pictures, the last one just plays. So the last thing that we have up is this wonderful Christopher Grant reel. So I'm just seeing it a million times as I'm trying to do the beginning of the show, and I can't concentrate because I just want to laugh again. So let's move on. Folks, if you want to comment on the show live, if you're watching, go to the FloTrack Podcast YouTube page. A lot of people supporting Gordon's Goons right now in the chat, which is a reminder, if you want to become a member of the FloTrack Podcast, you can click that membership button there. We're doing bonus pods for the members, and we got one coming up on Monday. We got a bonus pod for members only on YouTube coming up on Monday. So now would be a good time to join if you haven't joined yet. I'm sure we'll have something that's USA or conference related because those are the big stories coming up this weekend that we talk about. Maybe a little bit of preview action. So subscribe, become a member, get all those perks, Gordon.
Yeah, get all the perks. And also, subscribe to FloTrack as well because you can watch
Yeah.
live events. We're live at the Big East Indoor Championships, and we're live at the BU Last Chance Invitational, which we'll talk about later on in this pod.
Yeah. All right, let's start first with USAs. How about we start with USAs? I got 5 questions that I wrote down going into USAs. You could expand this out even further. But for you, what are you watching for this weekend in Spokane? What event or what person are you most interested in following?
I think the athlete I'm most interested in is Cooper Tier, to be honest. I think a lot of people would maybe say someone like a Donovan Brazier or a Cole Hawker, but I'm interested in Cooper Tier for the pure fact that he is going all in on one event, and that event being the 1500 as opposed to what you would think it would be being the 3K. And if he comes out of this race, not just with making the team, but if he were to win this race, it's really going to open the eyes of a lot of people of like, what is Cooper Tier? Like, what is he? Is he been a miler this whole time? Have we been distracted by the presence of Cole Hawker's long locks of hair and his NCAAs and USA defeating of Centro and going on to become 6th at the Olympics? Meanwhile, Cooper Tier is just sitting back being like, you guys have no idea. I beat him every workout. He just happened to have a few wins. If I was in the race at USA's in the 1500, I would have been the guy looking over my shoulder towards Centro and towards Cole Hawker and getting the win. And we'll find that out because if he comes out there at USA's and if Cooper Tier finds a way to win this, it's definitely going to be like, whoa. I mean, I don't know how much more description I can put into it, but my reaction is like, whoa, Cooper Tier is the guy. Like, I think right now we all think Cole Hawker is the guy. And by the definition of the guy is someone that you can foresee making multiple world teams for like a decade. Like the guy.
That's a long time.
Yeah, the guy. Here are guys. The guys. Leo Manzano was the guy. Matt Centrowitz was the guy. Paul Chalimo is kind of the guy right now. I would say Nick Simmons was the guy. You could think of these people who are like, no matter what, you're making a team. And if Cooper Tier comes out here and wins this indoor championship over someone like Cole Hawker, over a Craig Engels, over the rest of the milers in the country, Cooper Tier might be in year 0 of being the guy. Or year 1.
Man, you're putting a lot of stock into US indoors. They go straight to finals in both of these. So there's one 3K race and one 1500-meter race. And we saw how good Hawker is at doubling last year at NCAAs when he had 45 minutes. This time he's going to have a whole night's sleep underneath him. But Tier beat him in Chicago. And you look at the field, who's clearly better? There's nobody clearly better here. You have guys like Thompson, Engels, as you mentioned. Prakel's been solid. But you could see, and Colby Alexander's had a good season. But yeah, you could see this coming down to another Hawker versus Tier battle for those top 2 spots. And those top 2 spots would qualify for World Indoors, which would be, a great accomplishment in his first full year as a pro. I don't know though. Beyond, do you think this will sway his decision on whether or not he's a 1500 or 5,000 guy outdoors, or is this just an opportunity to race at something shorter?
I mean, I don't know, but like if he does win it, again, look at that field. You could say it's not that, but like the field has the sixth place Olympian in it in Cole Hocker. The only two
Sure,
people
sure.
missing
Yeah,
from that field are Yard Naguse and Matthew Centrowitz. And Centrowitz isn't someone who's like going to be relevant in the 1500, 5 years from now, 4 years, maybe even 3 years from now. So and Naguse is Naguse. I just think that him winning this race is going to say, I'm the best miler in the country. I think the winner, I think if he goes out there, wins a championship style race against Cole Hocker and against Craig Engels and the like, that's the
Mhm.
definition of being ranked number one, of being the top miler. And it'll just be crazy for the top miler to be like, I'm going to do the 5K against Chalimo, Kincaid, and Fisher. Like, he would have a better
That's
chance
why
of
I'm
making
wondering what.
worlds in
Yeah,
the 15.
yeah. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to go that far and say makes him the top miler. I mean, he would have won 2 mile races in a row, and his indoor season would have been 3 in a row. Now, if he goes to World Indoors and then goes up against Jakob and holds his own there and is able to get a medal at a World Indoors, then I think we're talking about his standing being number one. But I'm not going to give that to him just based off of the short indoor season.
In the
I do think
country?
it's an important.
You don't
Yeah, I
think he'd be
wouldn't
the
give it
top
to him.
miler in the country?
Well, at that current second, yes, because by its very
Okay.
definition, the best people are running. But what does that mean? I wouldn't, if I was doing rankings of or projections of who's going to win US champs in the 1500, even if he wins, I wouldn't put him number one for what he's going to do in June. In
What
part
would you
because I
put
still
him?
think he's going to go to the I still think he's going to go to the 5K. I mean, I would still put him behind, depending on how Hawker does this weekend. I put him behind Hawker and I put him behind Centrowitz for sure. And then we don't know about Nagoose.
So you'd put him fourth. If he beats Hawker, is he like undefeated against Hawker in these short races anyway? I feel like he
The
is.
mile, he does really, yeah, it's interesting. He does really well against Hawker in the mile, 3 and
Yeah,
0
3
in the
and 0.
mile.
So
That's indoors. And then if you go outdoors in the fifth and include the 1500, he's been successful against Cole Hawker. Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to oversell
I
one
do.
race even though it has the championship label on it. Yeah. And I respect that. Even though it has a championship label on it, I don't want to get too carried away with what he can do.
I'm just saying, get
I'm
your
looking
futures
for
in now for USA's outdoors because if Cooper wins this, he's going to win outdoors.
yeah. I mean, here's my top 10. I put him on there at number 10. I still have Hawker. This is internationally. I still have Hawker at 6. I didn't really move Hawker down when he lost to Tier just because it was such a different type of race. And when you're comparing these guys internationally, maybe some of those other guys would have also lost to Tier heads up. But I think he's legit. I think he's top 10 in the world right now. Elliot Giles, Mohamed Katir right in front of him, McCall. I mean, that first tier is pretty solid because the first tier is just Yaka by himself, but Chariot's not in there because he hasn't been running. But Hoare and Kerr and Tefera have proven themselves indoors. In terms of time and just can this person run an insanely quick time? Two things I'm looking at are Holloway and Christian Coleman in terms of time. In terms of place, and I'm going to run through all these in a second here. In terms of place and how they fare, I'm really most interested in Ajay Wilson because with a Thing Mo not there, she has the opportunity to win again. And stop me if you heard this before. Ajay Wilson could win a U.S. indoor title. That's like all she does. But right now in the world, obviously you got Hodgkinson number one after her 157. That's an incredible time. But then there's a complete logjam in that next tier of women who could run world indoors between Wilson, Gould, Nakai, and Bisset. And I think there's a good chance, Ajay Wilson can get up into that group, can get up into the medals again if she runs world indoors. The weird thing about her season is she doesn't have the crazy season best, but she won Milrose. She beat Gould, and Gould's gone on to run really well. And then she ran FloTrack in North Carolina, where she didn't run that fast of a time. So her season's best is only 201, but she can obviously run much faster than that. So I just want to see, hey, can Wilson contend with Hodgkinson at World Indoors if they both decide to do World Indoors? Or is she in that second tier group with Gould, Nakai, to say who's going to be fighting probably for silver, bronze. Both are improvements of where she was last year, but I think there's a chance that she comes out, runs a 158, and then we're talking about, hey, her versus Hodgkinson. That's going to be a pretty cool race at World Indoors. It would be great to have a Thing Mo there, but Wilson has a shot to get the gold too.
I'm gonna zag while you're zigging. I don't know. The AJ Wilson experiment has kind of already been done. We've seen her now for like a decade,
The
and
experiment.
with the
It's the experiment.
yeah, I mean, I'm not really interested in like, will AJ Wilson run 158 and potentially be a world indoor competitor? Because in my mind, the presence of a Thing Mo, even though she's not at this exact meet, kind of just throws out the lore of an AJ Wilson and her ability. That when I look at the women's 800 right now, I'm not thinking about AJ Wilson. I'm just thinking about the two high school kids and Roisin Willis and Sophia Gorarian. I want to see them break too. I want to see a high school kid make world indoors. That would be pretty cool. And that's what I would get most out of this meet, this women's 800 specifically. When a Thing Mo's not there, the next best thing, and it's going to be who's the other young gun. And I would love to see Sophia Gorarian find a way to get second in this race and go to World Indoors. And then, like, it'll be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not as
Well, I'm
excited
saying
about a 158 AJ Wilson.
the best 158 indoors is fast. Don't forget that.
I
The
know,
best
but
chance for the U.S. If we're just talking indoors here, the best chance for a U.S. gold medal is Wilson returning to form. That's the best shot. It's not somebody who is completely new at the stage going into their first championship. That's the first opportunity. So I mean, she's still young. I know she's been on the radar forever. That's just because she was so good, so young. Um, let's run through these questions though that I have. First of all, Grant Holloway, world record 60 hurdles. You buying? You selling?
selling, sell. No. Sell. No world record. He's saving it. Not yet. There's no need. We'll save it for world at indoors. No world record. Sell.
I don't think he's capable of saving it. I think he's going to get so excited. He's going to get out there, and he's got 2 rounds, so he's got 2 chances to do it. Yeah, I think he runs. I think he runs 7-3 low. I don't think he's quite there. I don't think he's quite going to do it. But the competition he gets here, Gordon, is going to be pretty similar to the competition he gets at World Indoors. Devin Allen, likely the second best guy in the world. So if he's waiting for more competition when he's going to run 7.29, it's not going to come. It's going to be him versus the clock.
This is why I think he's not going to run 7.29 at USA's. Because he's in a unique situation where this USA championship is an exhibition for him. He probably,
Correct.
because he's young and he likes winning titles, he's probably going to still try to win the race because he's there. But at the end of the day, he has a bye to World Indoors. Whether he gets first or last, he's going to World Indoors. So this is a fake qualification round. And I think with that in the back of your head, that just little bit of this is a fake race thought in the back of your head is going to be like, all right, I'm just going to run 7.37 and win. That's why I think because there's that little bit of this isn't that important, it's going to be like take away the ability for him to go all in on the world record. And I think
flip side,
when a global title's on the line at World Indoors, there's none of that. And then he's going to go all in to run another 7.2.
I approach it from the other direction. The fact that he doesn't need to be there and he's still going tells me that he's going to take advantage of it and he could take a big swing at this thing and really go for it. And we could see something special. There's that possibility as well too, because why is he there? We all know getting people to go US indoors is pretty difficult in the running events. It's not easy. And here's a guy who doesn't need to go in order to run at World Indoors, and he's still showing up. I think he's got this streak going back to 2014. And I think he doesn't look at these races as, oh, this is like a throwaway opportunity. I think he loves winning and he wants to just keep winning. He wants to rack up US titles. He wants to rack up as many gold medals as he can in history. So I think he's going to be sharp for this one. As I mentioned, Allen can give him as good a race as anybody else in the world right now. So there's not going to be a huge difference between this and Serbia at the World Indoor Championships. Now, picking 4 against the world record, I'll say he comes up just a little bit short, just because that's a very high bar to meet. But I do think we're going to see maybe the second best time of him in history. Maybe we see a 7:31. Maybe he matches his 7:32 that he ran in Leven. But you're not going to be shocked if we see the first heat and Holloway cruises and runs 7:35, and then you're going to go, oh, okay, here it comes. Like he eased up the last stride and he ran 7:35. Like something big is on the horizon in the final.
Here's my question for you. He is currently lifetime. Is he lifetime undefeated at the 60 hurdles?
2014.
Because he's never lost to 60 hurdles. Last time he lost 60 hurdles, it wasn't the professional height. It was like the high school height, right?
Correct. Yes.
Do you think he will ever lose a 60 hurdle? Prelim or final? Like, do you think he's going to be able to retire never losing a 60 hurdle? That'd be kind of cool.
I'm big on Grant Holloway. I'm very optimistic about him, but I don't think he's going to go career undefeated. This isn't boxing. I think he's going to run enough times.
But he could.
And there'll be a certain point when he hits a hurdle or someone surpasses him. I mean, if you tell me he's going to retire at the end of 2024, then maybe. But I think he's going to be going for a while.
It's not about retiring. He doesn't need to retire. He just needs to know, okay, I know I have like 5 years left in my career, but I know that I can't guarantee wins for 60 hurdles. So I'm not going to I'm going to pick and choose my 60 hurdle competitors during the latter years of my career so I can keep getting more wins. But I know I'm not going to lose because I know I'm not going to go up against some young 22-year-old who is running out of their mind. Or you could just be like, oh, I'm not going to do indoors this season. My hamstring hurts, right? Oh, my back hurts. All right, I'll wait for outdoors. I think if he plays it right and he times it right, he could figure out a way to have a perfect career at the 60 hurdles. I mean, if you're at this point, you got to start thinking about it. If he gets through this year and he wins a world indoor title and he's undefeated, he's going to have to think about it. Like, hey, I already done everything. I got the record. I got the global title. I got the USA title. What else do I need to do? Oh, I know. Let's see if I can just never lose. That'd be kind of cool. No one's ever done that.
It's weird, though, because never losing sometimes relates to not racing as much, which isn't fun. We don't want to see that. All right, let's go to Coleman. Let's go to Christian Coleman in the 60. Another big favorite. Looked good in Millrose, but we haven't seen him much since then. Ran 6:49. As I mentioned, though, he is the expected winner in this race, in part because he's a world record holder, and this is a dominant event for him, but also because Trayvon Bromell, second best guy in the U.S., isn't running, and it's hard to pick somebody who you think could match Coleman. I mean, how quick do you think he will go here, and what do you think he needs to do to really feel good about that potential showdown with Lamont Marcel Jacobs at World Indoors?
I don't think he needs to do anything special. I think he just needs to show consistency. I think he just needs to first round run a low 6.5, and then final run a mid 6.4, and be like, all right. I put together the back-to-back races that if I replicate this at World Indoors, that's going to result in a title. I don't think he needs to do anything crazy. He doesn't need to, flirt with, low 6.4s. He doesn't need to do anything out of this world. I think he just needs to be show an easy, dominant prelim and then show an easy, dominant final, because the competition is not going to be that good. I mean, Ronnie Baker is really the only true guy that can challenge him. And Baker isn't running 6.4s right now. I mean, there's other guys like Cravant Charleston who ran 6.52, but Cravant Charleston's not going to beat Christian Coleman. I mean, Christian Coleman owns the CC initials. Cravant Charleston's not going to take the CC initial title from him.
Big. Yeah, it's big.
You know? It would be cool though if they do go 1-2, because then you have a CCCC podium. Which would be
Sweet.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
CCC
it's
sweet.
just interesting that Jacobs has ended up racing more in the indoor season than Coleman has. I think, yeah, mid 6.4s is a good target for him. That's the fastest time in the world this year. 6.48 is fastest time by an American. But I think low 6.4s, mid 6.4s, maybe he's going to win at World Indoors. And Jacobs has run 6.47, but he hasn't done it this year. He's been really consistent in the 6.5s. I think he can go back down and high 6.4s. I think he can go down to 6.47. But if Coleman runs 6.43 in Serbia, I just don't think Jacobs is going to be able to meet him there. So I think he's going to want something south of 6.45 at this meet. But that's certainly doable. And main priority for him is qualifying, and I think that's in the cards because you should look at the field. It's pretty doable for Coleman, even if he has a B- race to get through.
I really wish someone like Michael Williams could be in this race against Coleman. Because Michael Williams, young kid out of Oregon, has run 6.48 twice now.
Yeah.
That would really push Coleman to need to be on his best. But, there's just not as much depth. I mean, Marvin Bracey, yes, Marvin Bracey is there. But Marvin Bracey also hasn't run, so you don't know
exactly
what Bracey we're getting. Are we getting like a rusty Bracey? Are we getting a shiny Bracey? Are we getting like a malleable Bracey? I don't know. You don't know what
Here's the
Bracey you're
group.
getting.
I could see Bracey making it. I could see Charleston making it. I could see Baker making it out of that group along with Coleman. But then after you go past that, you're really reaching to try to figure out who could join Coleman on the team. And Carnes has run 6.53 this year. Demet Kemp's run 6.48 in his career. But of the guys who are on the start list, it's just there's not a ton of combinations of people, so you feel really good about having Coleman in there. So I'm guessing mid 6s for him, and I think 6.45 would be a good sign for him going into the World Indoor Championships. Here's my next question for you, Gordon. You ready?
No.
Okay.
One more
I'll
thing.
ask this to Colt. Producer Colt. Colt then gets this question if you're not ready.
Producer Colt followed me on Instagram. I felt special. So I appreciate that, Colt. I followed back.
Nice. That's big. All right.
Did he follow you? Did he follow you or no?
I did.
He did. No,
he
you
did.
followed me, I think.
I did?
But I don't think I followed. Hold on.
I didn't.
You didn't follow back?
Kevin. I'll follow you
You
right
never
now,
followed
Kevin.
me, Cole? Oh,
No,
wow, that hurts.
I looked at your
I
account.
don't follow
it was
Kevin
just,
on Instagram.
It was just your family. I was like, I don't need to follow just Kevin's family.
Wow. Yeah, I stopped posting. I posted a little bit when I went to Doha. I was getting into it. Maybe it's because I was like around Travis and I got that social media vibe going. Colt's account's weird. He's got some like different name thing on there, so I was confused. I think when I was
talking
searching for
about?
maybe
It's
on
just
Twitter or
Colt.
something. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Something confused me about it. It's like Gordon with the hashtags. And the clapping emojis. I didn't quite understand it.
Yeah.
Gordon, here's your question. Internet's hard. Gordon, here's your question. Will Brazier actually do the 4.8 double in this meet?
What's the schedule? How's the schedule work out?
The schedule is on day one. So on Saturday, you have the 400-meter prelims at 2:24 local time, and then you have the 800-meter prelims at 3:04 p.m. So 40 minutes apart.
He will not run the 800-meter prelims. He will just do the 400. I think he's just in the 800 if he like trips and falls in the 4. That's what I think.
That's my feeling too. Because you read the quotes from his coach, and it's just all indications are this is all about running the quarter and not about the 800. The 800 is just the backup plan. I would love to see him in the 800. I'm definitely more interested in seeing him in the 800 than in the 400 because you have a pretty good 800-meter field. You have Bryce Hoppel there. You have Isaiah Harris there. You could have a really fun race. Craig Engels as well. But it looks like the priority for him is the quarter and making that indoor 4x4 team. The 400 team is definitely makeable based on who's actually running in the meet. No surprise, 400 indoors does not have a lot of the top tier. Not a lot of the Olympians from 2021 are racing in this meet. Do you think he can make this? Can he get top 2 individually in this quarter? And if he can't, do you think he can stay in the top 6 so he's in the relay consideration?
Yeah, I mean, I think he can win it. I mean, the U.S. field is very weak because first of all, none of the good USA athletes compete at World Indoors or U.S. Indoors, and the best U.S. athletes at indoors are in college. Randolph Ross isn't going to be there. Elijah Godwin's not going to be there. Like Keever, the Iowa freshman, is not going to be there. You can go on and on that there's just a lot of talent that won't be there. It's going to be an easy way for him to find a way to slide in and put together a good race. And I think he'll finish top 2. I don't even think top 6 is a question. I think the question is, can he win? I think he'll at least get 2nd or 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Because if he doesn't win, say he gets 5th or 6th, so he's good enough to get in the relay pool, which I'm with you. I think he could finish top 2 straight up in this race. It's interesting because you look at the incentive structure for competing at U.S. Indoors and competing at World Indoors, and you could have the situation. I know he really wants to get on the 4x4. He could travel all the way to Serbia for World Indoors, not to run the 800, not to win a global gold, but to be a member of a relay pool where he could run one round in a 4x4. And I don't knock him for that. It's a new thing. It's probably fun to do. Relays are great. Relays are awesome. But it's just kind of a strange setup in terms of track and field because you'd think the opposite would be much more of a draw. I can go to World Indoors, win my event, the 800, get a gold medal, stand on the podium, and get back to where I was in 2019. But instead, the more motivating thing is I can just be part of a relay, and I may not even run in the final. It's wild to think
Here's
about.
the thing, though. Maybe this is a longer play, though, and let's say he goes here and he wins U.S. Indoors. He's not going to need to run 43 seconds or 44 seconds or beat a 43, 44 guy to win U.S. Indoors, right? Because you can look at the field. He could have a U.S. 400-meter title that's kind of like a fake title, right? But it doesn't matter. It still says 400-meter champion in 2022. Then he can be on a relay. He could be the anchor of a 4x4 that goes on to win a medal, wins gold.
Mm-hmm.
He could have a fast anchor split, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to go into the outdoor season with a lot of this 400-meter pedigree. Then he goes out there and he runs good 800s. He's running well in the 800, right? He's dominating the 800. And then he's going to be like, they're at Worlds. He's already at Worlds because he's qualified. And he's going to say, hey, you see a thing, Mo, you're letting her run the 4x4. You see what I did? I'm a good 400 guy.
Hold on.
You got to let me run the 400, and then I'm on the 4x4. And they'll be like, why? Well, last time I was on the 4x4, you guys won gold. Last time I ran the 400, I won a title. And I think that's what he's going to do because is he going to force USATF to say indoors isn't real? Is he going to force USATF to be like, that championship we held doesn't count? That would be weird. They can't admit that their own product is inferior. They can't do that. So they're like, all right, you have to be on the 4x4.
No, that's not how it's going to work at all. If it is, the coaches are being taken for a ride. A Thing Mo won the NCAA 400 title outdoors and had an incredibly fast time. If Brazier wants to be on the 4x4, he needs to run one outdoors too. Because whatever time he puts out indoors is not going to be as impressive as what gets done outdoors. So that might be what they're thinking, but I think you need to give the coaches and the people who are going to select it a little bit more credit in terms of how they're going to come up with this team, and he needs to do something outdoors. I'll say this: there's a couple wild cards in this men's 400 field that could make it difficult for him. 400-meter guys. Noah Williams, who's run 44.7. Now he ran once this year, and it didn't go well for him. Ran a 47, but he can go fast. Devin Dixon, who we've seen, now he's with the Brooks Beast, 800, another 800 guy who split a 43 before. We don't know what type of shape he's in. And Trevor Stewart, who hasn't run it all this year, but ran great in the NCAA, ran great at USA's as well too. Those three guys could make it difficult for Brazier if they're in shape. Because remember, he ran. Let's pull up his Milrose.
I'd like to add, there's one other person too in Heat 1. Trevor Bassett. He's legit.
Yeah. 400-meter hurdle guy.
Mashland.
But when Brazier ran that 400 at Milrose, there was some tactical decisions he made that he didn't like. He tried to pass on the backstretch, and he ended up losing to Christopher Taylor. The time wasn't that fast, but some of the guys that are running are Christopher Taylor caliber and can put out a performance similar to what Taylor did. So there's a scenario here where he does, make it into the final, but isn't able to get the win. There's also a scenario where he can win. It depends on what these guys, what sort of form these guys are in. So yeah, 46.55. He was behind Norwood in that one too, correct? Am I remembering that right? Taylor won and then Norwood was second. And if you say, all right, well, he's going to correct for the tactical mistake he made. Well, yeah, but there's a little bit deeper of a field to go against. So I don't know. I just don't think this is going to work in terms of getting him into a 4x4 outdoors. The easiest path to that is run a 400-meter race outdoors and run it fast.
Okay, but what if he goes out there and runs a 139.800 in May? Are they going to be like, yeah, we still don't want you?
Yeah. You're doing this thing that you did last year where you just conflate Mo and Brazier regardless of what they do, just because they both ran at Texas A&M and they won titles as freshmen and then went pro. A Thing Mo, the mark
and then won global outdoor titles.
Right, exactly.
Cameron Brazier did win in 2019. Let's not forget.
No, you're right. You're right about that. But A Thing Mo, what she did was special. It'd be the equivalent to Brazier running a 43-second high open quarter in the outdoor season. If that's the case, yeah, it's over. Shut the book. Put him on the team. Figure out the other three guys that are running. But that's not the same as him running a 400, an open quarter, or running on a relay leg with a 4x4 indoors where he's going to run 45 seconds. It's just not the same thing. Totally different levels.
I mean, Brazier has had some good splits for the record.
I agree.
That's what
but it's what is it? But he's got A Thing Mo could get ahead of got ahead of a lot of people. Brazier's got to get ahead of a long list of people. And the guys that we mentioned who are running in this race are contenders, right? But it's not Randolph Ross. It's not Michael Cherry. It's not Michael Norman. It's not Ry Benjamin. It's not Elijah Godwin. There's a long, long list of people that he needs to get in front of. Trying to make a U.S. 4x4 team is no joke. A Thing Mo made it look straightforward, but that's the rule. Or that's the exception, not the rule. All right.
Yeah.
Moving on. Women's 15 and women's 3K. Who gets the two spots in each of those events? Just with the men, we've seen a lot of doubles in the past because it goes straight final in both of them. Who do you think ends up getting those spots?
Women's 15 and women's 3K. The 15. What's first?
15 is 15's day 1, and then 3K is day 2.
Okay. 15, it's going to be El Purier and Josette Norris.
Okay.
Very confident. Extremely confident in that statement.
All right. Just based
So
on what they did earlier this season?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't see someone like an Ella Donahue or Danny Jones. They're not like they're in the like I'm good to be in to make finals mode, but they're not good to be like to win races mode. I could watch both of those women go 1-2, and I'm like, whoa,
you're gonna end up
hell
on
of
a reel
a
again.
jinx pick. Put that in the reel. No, but I just think that El Purier, clearly she's the best runner right now, and Josette Norris, I also think, is just constantly waiting to have her breakout race. Obviously, she's had her breakout season. What now? 2 seasons ago now, and she didn't have her best Olympic trials, but clearly the talent is still in her. It's carried over into 2022, and I think she's probably going to be even better. And there's not like a Elise Cranny in the mix, or Carissa Schweizer, or Shelby Houlihan. There's none of that, right? So it's just El Purier. I think Josette Norris can easily get second in this race. Easily. Easy.
So then 3K.
Okay, what's 3K?
You have the same setup. So you have Purrier, you have Josette Norris, but you also have Monson, Colati, and then Osika and Donahue. I'd say are the main contenders.
Yeah, so I think that it's probably going to be Purier and Monson. That's what
you think Purrier sweeps?
That's what I think she sweeps. Yeah, but I also could see Purier scratch the 3K and be like, I'm done with the 3K, and then I would go with a Monson and. I mean, can I say it? Should I do it?
Go ahead.
Courtney Wayman.
BYU. Taking a break from NCAA season. You picked her. Didn't you pick her at Melrose too?
I did. But here's the thing. Melrose, it was fast, right? And it's just like she wasn't ready for that. We get some tactical action. You never know. I mean, Colati's not going to let it be slow, so this probably will never happen. But if I'm putting a caveat, if it's a tactical race, Courtney Wayman for second.
I think if it's tactical, you invite a whole bunch. Like that's when you invite like Donahue's in it as well, and Osika too. I think Purrier is going to get the double. I've been in this meet a bunch of times, and it feels like there's always a double. Like going back, Jenny Simpson doubled. And it just because it sets up easy, and the fields
2 races
aren't as deep. Yeah, the fields aren't as deep, and if someone's got the hot hand, they have enough time to recover, and they come back, and they do it all over again the next day. So. Yeah, I think Purrier gets both. I like the Norris pick, but I'm not sleeping on Osika or Monson either. Colati will make it interesting though, as well. So my last question, we kind of already answered this, but not really, because you did it within the terms of Cooper Tier. You basically gave Cooper Tier the next 12 gold medals if he wins this weekend in Spokane, which was pretty bold by your account. They're going to build a statue of Cooper Tier in Spokane if he wins this weekend. Does Hawker, my question is this, does Cole Hawker have a better chance in the 1,500 or the 3,000? 3,000 comes first.
I would say, taking away ability, I honestly think he has a better shot in the 3K. Just out of the pure fact that the 3K is more time to pass to remove a lot of the chaos. 1,500, a 200-meter track, there's just so much chaos. So you get trapped. You're just not there. And then all of a sudden, you're like, you blink and you're like, shit, I lost. 3K, I think that extra mile in the race is going to allow for the herd of 16 to thin to 5. And then you have more wiggle room to like ensure that you're in good position in the final, 400. So I think
I
just purely
agree.
because there's just more time to thin out the field.
Well, and I'm also looking at the quality of the field. And 3K, it's tough to come up with a list of people who could beat him. Emmanuel Bohr just ran 13 flat, but you got to give Hawker the advantage just on closing speed. Then you have Mance, Drew Hunter, Ben Blankenship, but it's not the same as having Cooper Tier, having Craig Engels, having Josh Thompson, in that other, and also having someone in the 1500, because you're going to be tired too coming back from the 1500. Having someone like Colby Alexander who's been pushing the pace, doing a little bit of a like a Josh Kerr style racing, right? Like Oliver Hoare style race, like where they make it honest. So that's gonna be the second race. The field's gonna be tougher. I think 3K for Hawker's a better chance.
So here's my question for you. Who in this field is going to be sending Cooper Tier a gift basket? With a giant thank you note for saying, thank you for scratching this race because now I am qualified for World Indoors. Because if Cooper Tier was in this race, 99% of the people, 99% of the simulations, it's going to be a Hawker Tier 1, 2 in any order. But now that Tier is gone, someone in this field is going to finish second to Hawker, and that person wouldn't have if Cooper Tier was there. But now that Cooper Tier, they're going to give this Cooper Tier a gift. So who's giving Cooper Tier the gift basket? Because they're going to get second behind Hawker. Who's getting second behind Hawker is my question.
I thought you were going to say who gives Hawker the gift basket because he scratches out and only does 1,500 at Worlds. So multiple gift baskets. I think Bohr is going to finish up there. I think Bohr is going to finish up there. He's been consistent. Yeah, he's been consistent. But I think he's going to get second in this race. Why not Connor Mance?
Connor Mance send a gift basket?
Name the last time Connor Mance had a bad race.
He did. I remember. It was like a day when everyone at BYU ran really bad in like a 10K. It's like 2018. Was it 19?
Okay.
I remember. It was wild.
Oh, I remember that. That was.
But maybe he wasn't at BYU.
That was in
he
Eugene.
Might have been on mission.
Yeah. No. He was there. That's where they went.
He was
like 22, 23, 24 in the NCAA 10K.
Yeah.
All right, that was a long time ago. That was so long ago. That was at the old Hayward Field, and we were at the meet. That's how long ago that was. 2018 10K outdoors. He's solid, and I know this is far from his wheelhouse distance. Travis is pulling up the race. It wasn't 2018.
I don't think he might not. He might not have been in that race. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, no, there it is. 22nd. Yeah. Making me doubt myself here. Gordon.
That's the last.
Yeah, they did not run well. They did not run well. They did not run well though. So yes, he is the guy who's going to take advantage. So I think he'll finish in the 3rd, 4th range, and then if there's scratches, it will elevate him because there's going to be scratches too. People always talk about who doesn't show up to this meet, but there's also a fair amount of people who show up to this meet who don't go to Worlds.
Yeah.
Do you think anyone for you to talk about your tweet? So that was me just subtly giving you the opportunity to talk about your Excel spreadsheet tweet, and you didn't do it.
Excel spreadsheet tweet.
Okay.
So I went through, and I saw. Originally I wanted to do all the top 8 finishers at the Olympic trials, and if any of the top 8 are competing at USA's, but it would have been a lot. There's a lot of people, and I was like, yeah, let's just make it simplified it, and I made it top 3. And I thought it was interesting because you see a very stark difference between track athletes and field athletes. Mm-hmm. Most of the track athletes who finish top 3 at the Olympic trials are not running US indoors. You see a lot of red, right? A lot of red. The top 3 100-meter runners on the women's side there. 2 of the hurdlers, obviously one of them, Brianna McNeil, is suspended, but you get the point. 2 400-meter runners, 2 800-meter runners. all 3 5K runners, Cranny, Schweizer, Schneider. On the men's side, Chalimo, Fisher, Kincaid, Naguse, Central, Isaiah Jewett, Murphy, Randolph Frost, Michael Cherry, Michael Norman, Fred Curley, Trayvon Bromell. It's a lot of names. And those people, when whoever wins the 400 clearly is not better than Norman, Cherry, and Ross. And it kind of sucks because you kind of put an asterisk on these winners because it's not a true champion type thing. Now, obviously, Coleman wins the 60. You could argue that's a true champion. Holloway wins the 60 hurdles. That's a true champion. But you look at a lot of these track events, you know that there's someone sitting at home who's just going to probably be better. Not guaranteed to be better, but if this 3K had Chalimo, Fisher, and Kincaid in it with Hawker and Cooper Tier, then you're like, all right, this is a real deal race. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
And if you go down to like 4th place, 5th place, there's a lot that just aren't in this field.
Yeah.
Field events, they all are doing it. Field events, we don't care. Indoors, outdoors, don't matter. We're here to compete. And if you scroll, Colt, and show the field side, the second half of that graphic, you can see basically all the field event people are competing.
Yeah.
Except for Shelby McEwen, Joe Kovacs, and a couple women's shot putters.
No javelin throwers either. A little disappointed they didn't show.
I didn't include javelin, hammer, or discus, or multis.
If the disc people were really committed, they would show up anyway and just start throwing the disc around. Shout out to the women's 1500 for recreating the podium in Spokane. Shout out to the men's high hurdles for recreating the podium in Spokane. Yeah, this is nothing new. We have this same conversation every couple of years. And part of it is, I'm not ready. But the other part of it is, it's just not a priority. Prize money's not that high. There's other racing opportunities. The Bowerman Group's going to go run the 10K in Southern California outdoors. They've moved on. They had their one race now. Josh Thompson's running, so it's not we can say all of Bowerman, but the vast majority of Bowerman has, on the U.S. side of things, has moved on.
Do you think Jerry sits down with the Bowerman crew and is like, "Hey guys, we're not running USA indoors, and people are going to get mad. Let's Run's going to be like, why you're ruining the sport. People on FloTrack can be like, where's Bowerman? They're all just going to, people on Twitter are going to be like, just criticizing us for not competing at USA indoors. So here's what we got to do. We got to give them a token. We got to give them a tribute. So who's it going to be? We need to have one Bowerman athlete at USA's so I can have an excuse being like, what are you talking about? We went to USA's. Our boy Josh Thompson was there. And how do you think they decided for Josh Thompson to be the sacrificial lamb for representing Bowerman at USA's to cover for Jerry not running anyone there?
Well, Centro hasn't been running. But, he's the only miler, right? He's the only U.S. miler on the men's side. And, even on the women's side, is there anybody who's a pure miler in that group now that you'd say?
I don't know.
It's skewed way more towards 5 and 10, and then steeple on the U.S. runners. Obviously, some of their Canadian runners can run the 1500, but other than Centro, who hasn't raced at all, it's Thompson. So there's no other race for him to go and do in the beginning of March that's going to be fast. So he's going to do this one. It's a bummer. It's obviously
Josh. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Go ahead.
It's a bummer. No, go.
I was just say it's a bummer that this is how it's set up, and we've done this enough times to where I just feel like this is how it's going to be in perpetuity. Like, I can't imagine there's going to have to be a massive reorganization of the sport for it to change. And then as mad as people get, or as upset as people get, in 2 months, they completely forget about it. And then they're just, even a month, they forget about it. Because in the month, we're going to be well into outdoor season and people are going to be talking about outdoor performances. But when you have a meet where the prize money for first is, $6,000, it's, and there's no appearance fees. So the real motivation is, okay, maybe your shoe contract has incentives in it. You're not going to get a good amount of attendance. And then if you don't plan on going to Worlds anyway, then why are you going to go to this meet? But we can move on. We can talk about something else.
No, one more thing about Josh Thompson. Bring up his Instagram again.
He's a dunker too, Gordon.
Zoom in on his head. Zoom in on his head. On his. Doesn't that look like the Wonder Woman logo?
Oh, with the heart there?
No, like the W. It has like a W right above to the left side of his ear. Looks like the Wonder Woman logo.
Yeah, but on the right side, there's a heart, isn't there?
A heart.
That's the Drake heart, right? That's the Drake heart.
Oh, Drake heart. So Drake, maybe he's a big Drake fan.
Colt, the ultimate millennial, comes. Wait, you're not even a millennial, Colt. You're like a Zoomer, right?
Gen Z, baby.
Oh, Gen Z. Didn't they change that to Zoomers? Okay. Colt knows it's a Drake logo on the side of his head. The whole thing. That's the whole thing.
I could be wrong. So Drake did the initial like I carve a heart into my hair thing. I don't know if that's what he's copying, but that's my best guess.
Good perspective here from Colt.
Wonder Woman / heart. I did see we do have Poopgate update, which is great. I love that the New York freaking Times is updating us on the Poopgate.
Did you see the headline? Look at the headline, first of all, before we go any further. Why is the running world abuzz? Many reasons, but especially number 2.
Do you think this track ever expected New York Times to write a write-up about it? Anyway, all right. So we have a quote from the story. And I'll read it to you guys. As for what caused the school to restrict access to the track, nobody was willing to fully describe the misdeed. Ooh, yeah, you don't poop and tell. Apparently, Rosario, NAZ elite head coach, said the incident occurred a few weeks ago, but he wasn't sure what it was. So Rosario doesn't know. Stephen Haas, agent for pretty much all the Flagstaff, who trained on the track, said the rumors were only partially true, but wouldn't say more. Only partially true. So like, that's kind of an interesting way to like deny culpability, but he doesn't want to say it outright. It's happening anyway. But the story is clearly more than a rumor. Jennifer Chilton, the director of operations at the school district, acknowledged in an email that the school has reduced the number of reservations it was taking to use the track. The reason, she said, was mostly to make it available to students who want to use it. She said, it is accurate to say in a limited way that the behaviors of some runners played a role.
Mm-hmm.
It's accurate to say in a limited way. And then Haas is saying it's partially true. There's all these like half measures. No one wants to just say someone took a shit. She said that while she is not a runner, she has learned that runners relieving themselves outside is not unusual, and that packing toilet paper is common and evidenced. Ooh, people brought toilet paper for their poops. They had evidence. They had forensic toilet paper evidence.
Is just crazy to me.
Imagine collecting this evidence and like for the deposition. So apparently, because they're not allowed to be there, professional athletes have migrated temporarily, they hope, to less storied tracks in nearby Cottonwood or Camp Verde, or obviously in Flagstaff. But though past reservations are being honored. Ooh, this is great. That means maybe some runners are still able to train on the track, and now this track is becoming like a VIP type track where Rosario and Haas are kind of the gatekeepers. You're like, oh yeah, you want to do some mile repeats? It's going to cost a little extra. You can turn this into a profit making scheme. Obviously, they're not doing that. I'm telling jokes here, but that's good to know that there might be some people who are like, they're probably gonna be like, if you live in Flag, you can run, but if you don't live here, you can't. Maybe that's going to be a thing. I don't know. Some members of the professional running community are working on a proposal to restore access to the track that they will present at the school board meeting next week. Oh, I hope this is recorded. I hope we get to see the proposal. It's just one line. We won't take shits anymore. We'll hold it, maybe they pay for they buy a bathroom. Maybe they would do that. Just buy a porta potty.
It's expensive. That's expensive. You're going to get a lot of,
porta potties?
People. Well, see, the problem with the porta potty is you don't want to leave it out there all the time during regular school use. You want the ability. You don't want a porta potty out there. You would need to build like a real bathroom out there that people can use. real plumbing.
Why don't you want to keep it out there? The porta potty costs $800. I just Googled it.
Because you have a bunch of high school kids running around the porta potty.
Put a lock on it.
Never ends well.
You got to maintain the porta potty. That's not a one-time fee.
Exactly, Cole. Exactly. So I just say go all in, get a structure out there, get the plumbing going, and then you're all good. You know, we always joke about, hey, this should be the next season of Serial, but the New York Times writing an article about this gets us one step closer to this actually being the subject of a 7-part investigative podcast. Because when you have the line like, why is the running world abuzz? Many reasons, but especially number 2, it just makes me think that we're getting closer to a full-fledged investigation here. And Kevin Draper's like a legitimate reporter. He's the one who broke the Salazar news a couple weeks ago. And then just on his off day, he's like, hey, I'm gonna do something a bit lighter. Let's see what's going on in the running world. Wait, what?
Maybe FloTrack could buy the porta potty and we could sponsor it. It could be the FloTrack porta potty.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? You want to do that? Should we buy a FloTrack?
I mean, I don't know how
well. Typically,
branding. You don't want to brand yourself with something where people are, relieving themselves. Though typically, I don't think that's good for like name association.
You could rent a porta potty for $50 to $800.
With all the shoe company money involved, they could probably build a structure out there. I'm guessing. I mean, it's probably gonna be difficult because you got to run like pipes and stuff pretty far, but there's got to be a way to get something going on out there. There's also got to be a way for these adults to figure out how to manage when nature calls. And I know I've run a lot in my day. Sometimes it comes up when you don't expect it to, but that's a pretty drastic step to just go in the middle of the field or middle of underneath the bleachers. Like that's just a pretty. Most people didn't do this. Most people did not.
Oh, yeah.
They've been using the track for years. Most people do not do this. Most people have control over their bodily functions at least enough. It also, when I was thinking about it more, if we did the pod, it didn't surprise me because there's usually one person in every running group, doesn't matter the level, who's just a little bit out there, and they do weird stuff on the run, and they also like to tell people.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, check out this guy who did this thing. And then before you know it, everybody in the running world knows. Before we go, BU Last Chance this weekend on Sunday, live on FloTrack. Several big names running. You have Josh Kerr running the mile, going after the British record, 3:52.02, and then also the timing will be set up for the 1,500-meter record, which is 3:34.20. Now, Kerr ran the 3:52.2 in Millrose in that race that he lost to Oliver Hoare. Faster track, more time to train. Gordon, I think he's going to get these marks.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he'll 100%. Kerr's top 5 in the world right now. He's definitely fit. I think he's ready to rip a fast one, and I can see him shattering the record. I can see him flirting with a 3:49, maybe even. I mean,
whoa. Okay.
You probably end up running like 3:50, but I could see him flirt with the 3:49. Why not?
Yeah, you look at the list of people who have run real fast all time. Like right now, Morgan Beadlescombe is, I think he's 3:52.03. He's like just behind. Now he's not British, but he's like just behind the British record. And then you go back, Prakel, Gregoric. There's a lot of guys in there at 3:50 low where Kerr could slot in. So I think he'll get it done. I'm guessing this is the last race indoors because he said he's not running World Indoors, but just the extra time to train and the focus on the time versus having to worry about the competition. Because as you remember, once Kerr went by him, spirit's a little bit broken, and that could have accounted alone just for 0.2 of a second if he just is able to hold it together for a little longer. What else should we watch for at BU in this last chance meet?
Well, the Oregon men have decided to fly across the country to treat this as a last chance meet. Oregon could have gone. I'm sure they're also sending some of their athletes to the Pac-12 invite meet, which is hosted at Washington. But the men are recognizing, hey, the BU track is fast. We'd rather run on a banked 200-meter track than a flat 300-meter track. And so people like Reed Brown, James Gormley, Jack Urin in the mile, Aaron Benfeld is in the 5K. They're basically going all in on these 3Ks, 5Ks, miles. Luis Peralta is in the 800. Peralta is one of the best 800-meter runners in the country right now. So he's probably going to try to put together a fast race as well. And then also, North Carolina A&T, they're sending their top quarter milers and 200-meter runners to this meet to try to run a fast 4x4. Daniel Stokes is running a 200. He's trying to qualify, but their 4x4, led by Randolph Ross, those 400-meter guys are not at their conference meet. Their conference meet is going on right now, and they decided to pull their fast 400-meter guys to go all in on a 4x4. And the question is why? They already have a time that's going to qualify. They're ranked 4th in the country. There's no way 3:03:39 won't be top 12 when the weekend's over. But the reason why is North Carolina A&T has a chance to win the meet overall. Like, they're currently ranked 2nd in my rankings, 1 point behind Georgia. They have a chance to win the meet. The thing is, the way the 4x4 works is it's a timed final, and there's 3 heats. And the heats are divided up by your seeds. So there's seeds 12 through 9, 8 through 5, and 4 through 1. And North Carolina A&T is like thinking, all right, we're going to need big points out of our 4x4. If we're in the second heat and not in the last heat, it's going to be a huge disadvantage, because even if we win our heat, there could be another heat and all 4 teams run faster than us. And all of a sudden, we're turning 10 points into 4 points. And that difference of 6 points could be huge. So their goal is to maintain a top 4 slot. They're currently 4th, but with SECs coming, we know Florida is going to run a faster time. USC might run something out there. Basically, North Carolina A&T is like, we need to run a fast 4x4 to stay in the top 4. And BU's been known for fast 4x4s. Western Kentucky, they went to this meet in 2019 to try to get a 4x4 time to get into the top 12, and they pulled it off. They ran 3:04 there by themselves solo to qualify for NCAAs. I think A&T is going to run a lot faster than that. They're going to probably run in the 3:02, maybe even 3:01 range, because they have basically the fastest 400-meter runner in the world right now indoors in Randolph Ross.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to see a fast 4x4 to end the BU Invitational, especially with these North Carolina A&T boys. So
yeah, we know the BU track is fast. Don't always associate with sprinting, but it's certainly faster than the flat track where their conference meet is held.
Yeah.
And that's the issue here. This is all about chasing marks for them and getting themselves in a good position for indoors. We also have, like, Natoya Gould's running the open quarter as well. So there are some interesting entrants in the shorter distances as well. So something to watch there with A&T. That's live on Sunday on FloTrack. You can check that out. Let me look at the chat here for a second. Okay, a lot of Poopgate thoughts, but someone says, I hope you guys not sleeping on unknown Mary Beth Sant Price for the 60. No, we're not sleeping on her. I have her, whatever, 3rd or 4th in my rankings. I think I have Briscoe ahead of her, but she's a number 2 American right now. And with Elaine Thompson Hurrah out, if Sant Price or whoever makes it from the U.S. has a chance to medal at World Indoors. And she's been real consistent with the 7 lows. So I think going in, are there only 2 heats in this whole meet, Travis? That's it, huh? So Sant Price, top heat or top seed, and then you got Briscoe, the top seed in the other heat. I mean, look at the season's best there. Other than those 2, nobody else entered. The next fastest is Kiara Parker 7:10 and Kayla White 7:13, and then it pretty quickly goes up from there. So these 2 women are the favorites to make it to World Indoors, and I think if they do, you put them in a group with Brianna Williams, maybe Kambunji in there as potential medalists. So Sant Price can medal. Now, what that means for outdoors, I don't know. It's the same thing I said with Swoboda. What does it mean for outdoors? I don't know. We'll wait for outdoors for that.
Conference championships are also this weekend. Watch Big East live on FloTrack. Got the Georgetown boys, Villanova women, Providence. They had a great basketball game. I'm not sure if you watched it. It was like a thrilling, like double overtime win.
I only watched Duke games.
I watch a lot of basketball.
Person. That's all I do.
But yeah, Big East live on Flow. Friday and Saturday. Check out all the action. That's going to be good. Other conferences are happening around the country. We'll recap them all on Monday. Yard Nagoose fell in a DMR. He's also not entered in any of the other races, so he's done for the weekend. I thought he was going to maybe fly over to USA's and try to run the 3K at USA's, but no. But we have a little clip here. We don't know exactly what happened because we have just the beginning of the end of the fall.
So weird.
Virginia Tech. Do you think they knew what they were doing? Like, hey, they show us a little more. Give us an extra 2 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Scroll back a little bit.
There's conspiracy theory, though. I mean, this was on Virginia Tech's track. Virginia Tech women won. Virginia Tech men won a DMR. Do you think there was maybe like a booby trap on that inside lane and kind of tripped up Yard Nagoose? I could see it. There could be someone in the machine room clicking a button, like boom, take them out. Let's get this
a wet spot.
Wet spot just happens to be
there.
They
don't mop the floor on a basketball game. Okay, I'm gonna throw something to you.
Throw it.
This might be too big of a topic to do at the very end of the show. It seems to me the biggest factor in indoor success, other than just, obviously the talent of your team, but geographical location to a fast track, 1, and 2, how much your school cares about your conference meet.
Can you repeat the question again?
It's not a question, more so a statement. I just think there's 2 factors indoors that play a much bigger role than they do outdoors. One is a geographic location to a fast track, your ability to get to these meets where they have fast races and fast fields, or the financial ability to get there. And 2, whether or not your school cares at all about conferences, because there's some conferences where coaches will not pull their best athletes. They can't take them to a different meet because they're saying, hey, listen, my AD looks at these results. I'm judged by how we do at this conference meet. So do you care about conference and how close you are to a fast track? I think are just really huge factors in indoors, much more so than outdoors.
I could play devil's advocate because there are schools like that don't have conference that do well indoors, like the Pac-12 schools.
That's my point. You don't. The less your school cares about it, the better, because then you can just go all in on NCAA.
SEC cares about it, and they do well all the time.
Okay, that's fair. But I'm just thinking about
in distance, maybe in distance.
Well, I just remember you and I don't know which coach it was. I think it was at a press conference even. I don't remember. Basically complaining because Pac-12 never had to do indoor conference.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And it's seen as a free pass. And you got schools flying all over the place to get these last chance marks. SEC in the sprint, they're good. They're good regardless. And they can create their own magic here. But it's
I remember asking this question.
Yeah, okay. What year was that?
2015.
Okay. But even still, I remember sooner because it was when I worked here when we were talking about it as well too. But yeah, that's all. I want to throw that out there at 10 minutes after the bell, just to make sure Colt got his money's worth for producing the show. Good job.
I was doing some conversions. I got a question for you. This is gonna be a fun one. All right.
This is gonna be the last one though. We gotta let these guys.
Last one. The DMR. They're the top 12 DMR times in the men. The 12th time is 9:24. Okay? 9:24. Yeah. NAU is running in Bozeman, Montana. Okay?
Yeah.
It's a flat track at altitude. I did the math. What do you think they need to run in the DMR for them to crack 9:24? Flat track at altitude. What do you think that conversion is?
10:02.
No, it's not. It's not that. No, you just ruined it by just saying a stupid number. It's 9:40.
Ask it again. Oh, I was gonna go 9:50. So
9:40. That's not that fast. right?
No.
That's a 258 1200, a 4 flat 1600, 152 800, 50-second 400. They could do that. I looked up 3K. They need Nico Young, who's going to be running the 3K, is going to need to run 8:03 or faster to qualify because Nico Young's not in the 3K yet. So that was interesting.
So who are they running in the DMR? Do you know?
It'll be Abdi and Nico in the 12 and the 12 and the 16. Like they're two best milers. But 4 and 8, I have no idea.
Well, but Bozeman's at 4,800 feet, so that's coming down for the Flagstaff folks. Oh,
that's true.
Let's bring this full circle. Bring this full circle. We started the pod talking about Auburn sprinter Christopher Grant's great content that he made about your Elaine Thompson rock comments. Do you know where he started his collegiate career?
Christopher Grant?
Yeah.
Calabar?
Collegiate career in the U.S.
Oh, collegiate career.
Well,
is that all?
Now you're ruining the beat.
Where did he start?
NAU.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. NAU doing some good recruiting out there, getting some Jamaicans out there to. Or maybe that's true.
Maybe that's how he found first found your content was watching Running with the Boys back in the day.
True.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's all.
Fun story.
Kind of slow ending to the pod. Got to be honest. We really hit our stride about 5 minutes after, but 10 minutes extra, just too much. Double overtime. We couldn't handle it. Thanks, Travis. Thanks to Colt. Check out all the meets this weekend. As I mentioned, the BU Last Chance meet on FloTrack on Sunday. Monday, I'll be on the road in Fayetteville. We'll still do the pod as scheduled unless something happens to me. And then Gordon is just going to go straight 1 hour to camera. It's going to be amazing with a one shot. Become a member of the FloTrack podcast. If you haven't yet, you can go on our YouTube page, see how you sign up, because you will get a bonus pod coming next week. Appreciate everybody tuning in and downloading. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend.
Happy James Harden Day.